Welcome back to Legacy of Kain Defiance.
Nestled deep in the Black Forest, Vorador had once held court over a private kingdom, as decadent as it was depraved. Now all was still. I hoped I had not arrived too late.
So, do you like long levels? I hope you do, because we will be here for a while. Welcome to the Vorador's mansion. I mean, Vorador's mansion. And with this out of the way, we can finally get inside. And if you remember, Vorador's mansion was present in Blood 1, we visited it. And as a result, this place is an absolute lore bomb, because it has a ton of throwbacks to Blood 1. But unfortunately, the way it is designed from a gameplay perspective is absolutely aberrant. Because as a level, it's a relatively small location, which isn't really any bigger than all the others, but you have to backtrack all the time. You have to run back and forth, I think, no less than 4, I believe, times, maybe even 5, if you include the backtracking for collectibles. And it's gonna get aggravating real fast. Just so you know how long we'll be here, this chapter is going to take up a total of 4 videos. Let that sink in. It's a bit annoying how the Ozar Midrashim in the background here never really goes or gets to the part played in Theremin. At least I think that the other parts are played in Theremin. Are they? Okay, now let's take a look at what's here. These statues are singularly inanimate, and we know better than to assume that they will always remain so. This is a painting of the vampires being at war with something, maybe Hilden, but you can't really make out what it is exactly. And this is something you want to pay attention to these murals, because there's actually a health talisman behind this painting, but we cannot get to it yet. We will have to backtrack later, a lot later. We're talking at least 3 updates from now, I think, or is it 2 updates? There are so many videos of this that I can't remember honestly how many updates we are away from doing anything in particular. Vorador's mansion is actually a location that is massively redesigned compared to Blood Omen 1, in that the layout is completely different. It's nothing like the layout of the mansion in BO1. However, the visual style is the same. And that is really nice, meaning that everything is red and golden.
This pool seemed related to the portals which had transported me into the vampire ruins, but its surface was disturbed by the spouting of these gargoyles.
Well, I am not going to pretend that I understand how Raziel figured out that this pool is connected to the portals, but yes, this pool is a portal, and about half of the chapter will be us running around the mansion and trying to turn the thing on.
These gargoyles were effigies of the vampire's enemies. In the corresponding murals, they were impaled by heroic vampire warriors. Perhaps this was a clue.
Honestly, it would be more beneficial if instead of this clue, there would have been a map of this place. Because it's so easy to get lost. Nice sky textures. Texture, singular. And a vampire hero. One of the three. The third one, the last one. Okay, now let's find some things to penetrate the gargoyles. Also, I want to point out that I will be doing this in the single most inefficient way imaginable, because I want everybody to see just how long it can take for someone who doesn't know in advance how to do it more efficiently. So it's gonna be fun. There's gonna be a lot of backtracking. A lot of backtracking.
This mural was similar to one I had seen before in the fountain room.
So these catacombs, they are something that is completely redesigned compared to Blood Omen 1, because in Blood Omen 1, the basement in Vorador's mansion where he kept his human cattle, it was completely weird. It was checkered. Here it's just a normal dungeon. Now watch this. Come on. There we go. This was satisfying. Unfortunately, it's more trouble than it's worth, usually. Also, there is nothing more satisfying than managing to unleash a phantasmal tempest upon these archons. It doesn't happen often, it's really hard to do under most camera angles, but when you succeed, it's one of the most satisfying things in the world. It's also really sad if this is the most satisfying thing in the world for you.
This door clearly required some artifact before it would open.
Aren't you pretty? Well, as you have probably figured out by now, one large change to Vorador's mansion compared to Blood Omen 1 is the fact that in BO1 it was essentially... well, it was a reflection of Vorador as he was portrayed in BO1, in that he was a pseudo-hedonist and that's it. There was nothing more to Vorador. Whereas here there's a lot of... Yes, that's a complete failure. Here there is... here Vorador is kind of a old wise man who knows things and who is connected to the vampire prophecy and has a bunch of ancient vampire artifacts, and a lot of that stuff is kept here. And so there are a lot of stuff here that are, well, ancient vampire artifacts, and there are a lot of symbols of things relating to ancient vampires. That includes the, well, the pool that is a portal that we will use to get to the next elemental forge, and also the symbols of that forge, of the water forge. They're also present here in quite a few places. You could actually see them in the large hallway that we entered when we just entered the mansion. This will be progress one day. But it's not this day. And wanton destruction is absolutely imperative. It would be silly not to. I would also like to point out that the placement of humans here is a bit arbitrary. It makes sense that they are here in the mansion, but it doesn't make sense in which exact locations they are. Okay, now this wall, the only way you see this screwed up mural is by actively looking at this wall. Under normal camera angles you do not see it, and it does not show in any way that it's somehow connected to the murals. And as a result, later when we will have walls with murals as cracked walls, and we'll be able to crack them down, to knock them down, this one is easy to miss. Which sucks, because there is a health talisman behind that wall. And missing health talismans is bad. Okay, now this is a complete and utter dick move on behalf of the game, because the temptation to just jump onto this pillar, this one, is strong, but don't do this. Jump on this one. The one on the left serves no purpose other than to confuse you. Also, don't miss these jumps, because if you do, you'll have to get back up again. And it will be quite aggravating. I like how Slua have no purpose on spanning through 3 games. They serve no purpose other than to annoy Raziel and sometimes be sort of health pickups.
This statue appeared to be the same hero I had seen depicted in the fountain room. This had to be significant.
Yes, it is significant. Now we have a bunch of puzzles to solve. And they are all switch puzzles centered around evading gargoyles. And this is something we will have to backtrack for later. It will become a cracked painting. There is an arcane tome behind it. Okay, now you probably saw it already. Let's take a better angle. Vorador's Mystery Woman. Do you remember BO1? Let me refresh your memory. We have no idea who that is. Hey. Sup? You look kinda like a mask of a plague doctor, you know that? Except your eyes are all fiery and glowy. Okay, bye. Now this room is essentially just 6 switch puzzles, but this one isn't really annoying. But there's a second room which we will solve in the next update, and that one will be quite irritating because there will be no variety. You will not have to employ the Dark Reaver or any kind of Reaver to solve them, because we will be using the Light Reaver to light the dark orbs. And it's really annoying, like I'm not sure why, but for some reason the developers decided it's a good idea to just remove all puzzle uses for Light Reaver and Light Reaver alone. So it's essentially just the same as Material Reaver. It just opens some more doors. Okay, now this. Remember Drowned Abbey in Soul Reaver 1? How it took me like 15 minutes to get through one platforming section? Yeah, there's more of that here. Okay, that went well. What do they say? Second time's the charm? I like how this chandelier is just a switch-powered elevator. And through the power of video game, this will give us... Okay, game, I've seen all these switches. Tell me, give me... the spear.
This was indeed the vampire warrior depicted in the fountain room, for here was the hero's weapon. This could be the key to solving the riddle of the fountain. Heart Seeker.
Okay, now I want you to remember the name of the spear and also the names of the other spears. I will not go deeper into that for those of you who are not familiar with what's going on in Defiance later, but just take a mental note. By the way, it's been a while since the last time we've been locked in a room with enemies. Ah, shit. Now, one particular thing that is aggravating about the way Raziel, and it's only applicable to Raziel, the way he gets locked in these rooms with enemies is the fact that Hilden, there are 3 different types of Hilden, no, not 3, 4 different types of Hilden, and the only real differences are that the weakest type of Hilden doesn't have this force field around them which blocks TK, as if it wasn't useless already, and that they take the stronger kinds, they take more hits to take down. It gets really irritating because you can't kill them in like 2 combos, it takes a lot more than that. To Kain, that is not applicable. Everything Kain fights is essentially at the same level of strength, which is the lowest one. So it kind of adds even further to the fact that Raziel's sections are longer than Kain's chapters. Also, I find it weird how you can hear that sound of the conduit replacement. I forgot what it's called, completely blank out here. How you can hear it in the material realm as well as in the spectral realm. It doesn't make sense. I think it's a glitch, although it could also be just a tip for the player to switch to the spectral realm. And now let's go back to the room with the pool. There was a Deadpool joke there in my mind somewhere, but it was not meant to be. My quota for today is 1 tentacle. Only 1. And now let's impale the first of the gargoyles, and we are a quarter of the way through the mansion. Yay. So 1 gargoyle has been impaled. In the next part we will find the second spear and penetrate the second gargoyle. Thank you for joining me. Goodbye.